Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordan and welcome to yet another Book of the Month reading vlog. This is a series I do on my channel to keep up with my Book of the Month picks every month. Not only to stay on top of my own TBR, but also to be able to provide reviews to any other Book of the Month members who might be considering reading these books or adding them to a future box, etc. I really enjoy doing these videos. The last 2 months I've picked 3 books each month, and so I've been a little behind on keeping up with those picks. But in November I actually skipped. So I don't have any new books coming to me. I just have these 3 books to finish, and then I will be completely caught up with my Book of the Month TBR, which will feel really nice. If you're not familiar with Book of the Month, it's a monthly subscription service. I actually have an entire video dedicated to talking about what Book of the Month is and why I think it's worth it as a service. So I will link that in case you are not familiar and want some more details. But let's go ahead and get into the 3 books that I will be reading for this video. The first book that I picked in October was the thriller pick, and I'm very excited to get to it. It's The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. I have read one other book by this author. I've read Something in the Water, and I actually really enjoyed it. It wasn't a new favorite thriller, but it was a lot of fun to read. So I'm hoping that this will be the same way, fast-paced and entertaining. What I know going into this book is I believe it's about a woman who is marrying a man who has a very rich and prestigious family. They have a lot of traditions and secrets and things, and I think when she meets the family, she gets involved in like this weird, deadly game that they have going on. I have seen some pretty good early reviews for this book, so I'm excited to jump in and just read a fun, immersive thriller. The second book that I picked and will be reading is As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow by Zulfa Katu. This is a very different vibe from the thriller. This is a historical fiction. I believe it is set in Syria during war times, and it follows the different characters who are deciding whether they should flee their home country or if they should stay. Even though times are really difficult right now, I think this is going to be a very hard-hitting and eye-opening book, which I am super excited for. After October, when I read a bunch of spooky, speculative, paranormal, weird books, I'm excited to get back into real books. That's definitely my comfort zone and what I prefer in general, and I think this is going to be very, very real and hopefully pull a lot of emotions out of me. So can't wait to get to this one. And then the third book that I picked is one I am nervous about. It's Practical Magic by Alice Hoffman, and I just mentioned I'm a little magicked out from October, so I'm kind of worried about how this book is gonna go, but I do know that it is extremely beloved in the book community. Also, a lot of people love the movie that's been created or adapted out of this book. So I am excited to see what everyone is talking about, but again, I'm just a little nervous because I don't know if this is going to be the perfect type of book for me, but I am willing to give it a chance. I don't even know what this is about. It looks like it is about the Owens women are blamed for everything that goes wrong in their Massachusetts town. I'm not sure if that's Salem or not, but it sounds like they are accused of being witches and may or may not actually be witches. You know, guys, we'll see. Maybe after these 2 realistic books, I will be more in the mood for something magic. We're gonna give it a try. This is going to be a very low-key reading vlog. I'm feeling a little under the weather today, just a standard head cold, but it feels like it's been a month-long head cold. Kind of how it goes when you have young kids in daycare. It feels like one of us is always sick, but it definitely makes me feel like staying in and getting some reading done. You can see behind me one of my Christmas trees is already up. It is the beginning of November. I always start decorating for Christmas the day after Halloween. This year is no different. This tree and my other trees only have lights on them right now, so probably in this vlog I will work on getting them decorated with ornaments and things. Also in this vlog I am expecting a very exciting delivery, so I will talk about that when it comes, but it's just gonna be an overall relaxed and fun couple days reading these books. I did actually start my first book already. I started The Family Game last night when I was on sprints on Jordan's channel from Bookish Gem. I actually polled the audience on which of these 3 books I should start first, and The Family Game got the most votes, which I was excited about because this is the one I was leaning towards. I got about 100 pages in. So far, not too much has happened, but not in a bad way. I'm definitely entertained and invested in the story. Like I said, we're following this main character who is getting married to a man. She just got engaged. She hasn't met his family before, but she knows that they are very wealthy and respected, and they have high expectations for their family members and anyone who marries into the family. So she's feeling a little bit of pressure on the impression that she makes to the family the first couple times that she meets them, and specifically the father of the guy that she is engaged to. He seems to have a lot of secrets that he is kind of trying to tell her, and she doesn't know if she's being tested or she's being trusted or really what's going on there. So I'm excited to dive more into the family secrets and also to find more about this family game that the title references. I love games in books. I love games in general. So I really hope that it's an actual game that they're referencing and not just the secrets and drama. But we will see. I'm going to continue listening to this today throughout my workday. It is reading really quickly with the audiobook, so I appreciate having that. And yeah, I will probably check in either once I'm further or once I finish this first book and can give you my overall thoughts and tell you whether I enjoyed this anticipated release of mine. Okay, I just received a very exciting delivery. This is awkward that you can see me in this mirror right here. Let me move that. Okay. I got an exciting delivery that I have been waiting for. I was reached out to by a company called Tailored Canvases. They are not sponsoring this video or paying me to talk about them, but they did offer to send me a sign for free to show off in a video and tell you guys about and share their website and company and everything. And I am so excited about it. I took a look at their website, and they are a company that makes really high quality like wall signs and wall decor that is completely customizable. If you wanted to get a sign that has like your family's last name on it, or the date that you and your partner were married or something, they have options for all of that. They have options for every room in your house. They have a lot of different styles and aesthetics. So I was very excited when they offered to send me one, and I knew exactly what I was looking for and what I wanted to get. So I'm going to go ahead and open up this box, take you to our bedroom, which is where I'm hoping to hang the sign, and give you some initial reactions and feedback to the sign because I am receiving it for the first time. Again, I'm not getting paid to talk about it, but I am very excited about it. So please hold. Okay, welcome to our bedroom. I do not film in here a ton because it's kind of dark. It's not our best decorated room in the house. I don't love the aesthetics, but not many people come in here, so it's very low on our priority list in terms of spending money to decorate it and whatnot. But when Tailored Canvases reached out and offered to send me a sign, I knew immediately that I wanted to replace this monstrosity above our bed. While we both really do love New York City, we've traveled there a couple times as a couple. I love the cityscape, but it does not make for great bedroom decor. Actually, my husband at one point said it kind of gives dorm room vibes, which I agree with, and now I can't stop seeing it whenever I look at it. But again, it just wasn't really a priority to replace since nobody really sees this room except for us. But I have been dreaming of a pretty sign like this. This sign says, "Let's stay in bed," which honestly is my mood most of the time. I think this will look amazing above our bed. The outside of the sign and the letters are dark brown, kind of supposed to look like wood, which will match our bedroom set really nicely because it's dark wood. And then the white background I think will brighten up the space a little bit and be a nice contrast against our dark walls. So I'm going to attempt to hang this above our bed right now. We'll see how it looks. I will say this is much lighter of a sign than I was expecting, which I think is a pleasant surprise. I know this isn't going to rip off of my wall when I'm sleeping, which is a good thing, and also gives me confidence that I will be able to hang this by myself without my husband. But let's go ahead and get hanging. Okay, you guys, I have to hold the camera because my tripod does not go high enough, but this looks so good. I'm so impressed. This took legitimately 10 minutes to put up. Admittedly, I do have, like, there are the nails or the screws from the previous sign that I have to take down, and so I'm gonna have to patch those holes and everything, but I think this is an absolute improvement. Okay, but yeah, I am super satisfied. I love how the sign looks. I am completely happy with the quality of the sign and everything. So Tailored Canvases totally gets my stamp of approval. If you are in the market for some new house decor, wall signs, or Christmas is coming up, I'm just saying, I will have a link for Tailored Canvases in my description box, so go ahead and check them out. Thank you very much, Tailored Canvases, for sending me a free sign. I really do appreciate it, and I love how it looks. So with that, I'm going to get back onto the rest of my workday, finishing my book, and the next time you see me, I will be here with a reading update. Okay, good morning. It is the next day. I'm still looking a little rough, sounding a little rough because I'm not feeling my best, but we are pushing through. I did finish the family game last night, pretty much 24 hours after I started it, and I had so much fun with this. You guys, I don't know if there's gonna be a ton I have to say about it because it's just like a quick fun thriller, but it's what I was craving at this exact moment in time. I am an absolute sucker for games in books, and I loved the family games in here. Not just the idea of them and what the games were, but also the way the scenes were written for those games were actually pretty scary. One in particular, like before the climax, they play a game related to Krampus, and that whole scene had me super freaked out. And I think that's fun whenever you can let yourself succumb to the creepiness of a book and just like be scared with the main character and not sure what's gonna happen. That's what that scene did for me, and I loved it. I also really enjoyed like the end game that they played, and these games are a little psychotic. They're dark. They have a lot to do with like family secrets, but they kind of make me want to do games like that with my family, which is messed up. I don't want to exploit my own family members or anything like that, but it sounds really fun to me to have like a super well planned out family tradition game that everyone's excited to play, everyone gets into, more than just like a board game, which I also love board games, but like a scavenger hunt or something that is a little more complex and requires some pre-planning and takes the better part of a night. That sounds fun to me. So it's kind of funny that this book inspired that in me, and maybe sometime in the future I would put together something like that when my family is older, when my kids are older. As far as the mystery goes in this book, it was intriguing enough. I liked how it was presented. There is a cassette tape related to the mystery, and that was fun to have it revealed in that way to us. The only thing that almost lost me was there was a kind of reveal near the end of this book that just went really fast, and it felt like it was like twisting on itself and explaining things, and our main character was figuring things out, and it just all was going really fast, and I couldn't really keep up. And reflecting on it, I think I understand everything that happened, but I wish that would have just been a little bit maybe better explained or more slowly explained. But that was really the only thing lacking in this book. Oh, I guess also the fact that this is all very over the top and unbelievable, and like no family has this level of, well, maybe some do, I don't know. I'm not in the rich and elite bracket that this family is in, but it read over the top, but I think that's something you have to go in knowing, or just let yourself be fine with that. No, these are not your everyday next door neighbors. These are very highly successful and highly secretive human beings. But I still really liked it. I'm giving it 4 stars, and I definitely would recommend this book for this season between now and Christmas. I think is the perfect time to read this because this is set, I think, starting in November, and then it spans through Christmas. So definitely get your hands on it if it sounds like an interesting story to you. I think this is a winner. So that I am very happy about. And then just this morning, I started reading As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow. I have a little bit of time before I need to log on for work, so I thought I would get a few early pages in. And this book I have read 15 pages of so far, and I am going to be shocked if it's not a 5-star book. I can already tell that this book is going to be heartbreaking and enlightening, and I'm already invested in our main character, which is so important for a book like this because we're going to be spending a lot of time with her, and I just can't wait to read the rest of this. So the plot of this book, it's interesting on Goodreads. It's categorized as a young adult historical fiction. I don't know, and obviously I'm only 15 pages in, but this main character is 19 years old, so she's not actually that young. Plus what she's going through is going to be very difficult to read about, so I don't know if I would consider this young adult yet. And historical fiction, I'm also not sure how historical this is. I'm not seeing anything about what year this is set in the synopsis or in the first 15 pages. It doesn't mention any of that. I also admittedly don't know really anything about Syria or Syrian history, so perhaps I will do a little bit of research after finishing this or after getting into this to see where it lines up time-wise so that I can communicate that. But it does read as historical fiction, I would say more than contemporary, even if it is set in a more modern day. But anyway, we are following our main character named Salama, who, like I mentioned, is 19 years old. When she was 18, she started college to become a pharmacist. Her life was fairly normal. She lived in Syria. And then all of a sudden a revolution broke out, or kind of a civil war started within Syria. Again, I don't know a lot about what actually happened, so I can't really speak on it. But from our main character's perspective, her entire life changed. Battles started happening, people started getting injured and killed, homes and places were bombed, her own home was blown up, and she, as a first-year pharmacy student, was all of a sudden pulled up to be a full-fledged doctor and surgeon. So now, at 19 years old, that's what she is doing. She's working at the hospital. She is trying to save people who are injured and brought to her, and she's seeing her home country and her hometown just crumble before her. They are struggling to get enough food to eat, and these first 15 pages are just already so harrowing because it's so heartbreaking, and yet I can't even put myself in the position of being able to imagine what that would be like. But the author is doing an amazing job conveying the scenery, the surroundings, as well as our main character's feelings. She's already experienced really great loss in her family members. And currently her and her sister-in-law, who is pregnant, are trying to decide whether they are going to stay and help their people and try to help their hometown survive, or flee Syria to get their own safety, and especially the sister-in-law who's pregnant, start a better life for that baby once it comes. So really heavy stuff here, but I'm so excited to keep reading it. I can't wait to see where this story goes. It looks like it is just over 400 pages long, so again, we're gonna get a lot of time with this main character. It appears that she's the only perspective we follow, but I don't know, that could change. But I'm in the story with her, I'm rooting for her, and I can't wait to read and find out what happens to her. So I will be back with an update when I have it. I feel like since this is a longer book and a different genre, I may be able to update halfway through because it won't be as spoilery as, you know, like a thriller would be if I updated too far into it. But I don't know, maybe I'll just fly through it and I won't have time to stop and update because I'll just be too invested and I have to read it. I don't know, we'll both find out the next time I check in. Hello, it is Friday afternoon. I have finished As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow. I actually finished it first thing this morning, so it was like another 24-hour book. And I had predicted that this was going to be 5 stars, and I was so right. This book did everything I was expecting it to do. It broke my heart many times. There are some very difficult scenes to read in here. Just brutal attacks on this town in Syria and these people that are helpless, complete civilians. Our main character has some really tough moments in the hospital when she's trying to save people, in her home when she's dealing with her own grief and struggles, and the decision of whether to stay and try to help or leave and try to save her own life and her family's life. It's very tough, and I just want to be very clear that a lot of this book is hard to read in that way, but what made this book really great is that it also holds a lot of hope. And this book is very clear in its messaging that just because people are going through hard times and they're living in fear, no moment is guaranteed for them. At any time they could be killed, but they still have moments of happiness. They still have things that they are living for. They still have people that they love, hopes and dreams and goals. And that is very heartwarming, and it really reminds you like what's important in life. I know that all of us know that no day is guaranteed. Something could always happen to take us or someone we love out of this earth. But when someone is in a situation like this where it's so imminent, your priorities just get hyper-focused and magnified, and you spend time appreciating and thinking about what matters to you, and that's very beautiful to read. So this was every bit as impactful as I was hoping it would be. I absolutely recommend it to anyone who feels like that story would be touching to them. The author's note gave a little bit more history about how this book relates to actual things happening in Syria, and I think this book is supposed to be set in like 2011 when this revolution and these attacks started. So again, it's not that historical. It's not set too far in the past, which makes this a little weird to classify it as historical fiction, but I would say it definitely reads as historical fiction in its seriousness and its focus on like what's going on at this time for the whole community and to these characters. One other interesting element of this book that I wanted to touch on is our main character struggles with kind of hallucinations, or she sees basically a physical embodiment of her grief and PTSD, in that she has like a person that is imaginary. It's all in her mind, but he is kind of like the devil on her shoulder, kind of reminding her of what she's lost and what she is at risk of losing, and instilling fear in her even when she is having good moments. It's like he's always there lurking in her periphery. And I thought that was a really interesting thing to put in this book, and it is mentioned in the synopsis, so that's not a spoiler or anything. It's just a very interesting element, and this book I think somewhere compares itself to The Book Thief, which I think that is how I see the closest comparison, because The Book Thief is a very popular book. I have read it, I didn't love it, but it is told from the perspective of death, and it gives death a voice and personifies it, and in a way that imaginary friend of our main character is personifying grief and loss and fear and all of those bad emotions. And it's a very interesting character to have included in the book. And I loved seeing our main character deal with that. Like, she knows he's not a real person. She knows it's a figment of her imagination. And she even knows it's basically the worst parts of her brain, or the worst parts of her subconscious, personifying itself and manifesting itself in her vision. But even though she knows that with her conscious mind, that doesn't mean she can overtake it or undo it. Very, very interesting element. And yeah, 5 stars for this book. Loved it. So glad I picked it up kind of on a whim, and also one of the prettiest book covers that I've seen in a long time. But speaking of book covers, I also love the cover of the next book I'll be picking up, which is Practical Magic. I'm so nervous about this one. I don't know how much actual magic is going to be involved, but I am just going to dive in head first. It is not even 300 pages long, so I know I can get through it, and I'm really hoping that this is a pleasant surprise and I enjoy it as much as I see other people enjoying it. So I will go ahead and start this book, and I will let you know once I'm a little ways into it. I'll let you know the synopsis and my initial thoughts and how I think it's gonna go. So I will be back once I have listened for a little while. one is your favorite ornament? That one? Cool. Thank you for helping.
Which one is your favorite ornament?
I think my favorite is the one with your picture in it.
That one's my favorite too.
That's your favorite too. Okay, hello my friends. I am here with a quick update. I'm just on my phone, so quality is probably not great. It is about noon on Sunday. My kids are napping, my husband's napping. I am reading. I'm on sprints right now with Sarah from Sarah Shelves. She does sprints pretty much every Sunday, so I try to join them whenever I can. I'm about 65 pages into Practical Magic, and I'm not loving it. It's just, nothing is really happening. So far, it's reminding me a lot of Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna, which is the only Kristen Hanna book that I have read and not loved. I think I give it 2 stars for a very specific reason. That book has a trope that this one is seeming to also use that is just not my favorite. It's the trope of following a character or a group of characters for like decades of their lives, or sometimes even generations. For some reason, I just don't find that interesting. I strongly prefer to follow characters for a shorter period of time when there's like a specific goal or event or something that we're leading up to. Books that follow someone's entire life just really drag for me. In this book, we're following 2 sisters. We start when they're very young, we get their childhoods. They have kind of a rough childhood because everyone kind of ostracizes them. They live with their aunts and everyone thinks that their aunts are witches. So these 2 sisters get ignored and talked about because people are essentially scared of them and their family. So not a great childhood. And then now we are following them when they're adults. Specifically, one of the sisters, she got married and then divorced, and she had some children, and she decided to move her children away from that hometown because she didn't want her children to go through what she went through. So that's where we're at right now, is basically following them in their new life. The mom is now very respected and well-liked in the community, so it is a positive change for her from her childhood. But I just don't really know where we're going with this. There doesn't seem to be like a clear objective or plot or anything. So I'm hoping it picks up and something interesting starts to happen to get me more intrigued with these characters. So far, I'm glad that there hasn't been a ton of like actual magic. Not sure if that will come later or if it will stay in just the contemporary realm that it's in with just rumors of magic. I definitely would be okay with that if that's the case, but we will see. I'm gonna go ahead and knock this book out. Hopefully today, if I can keep the audiobook on and keep it really fast, I should be able to finish within a few hours, and then I will be back with my final thoughts. Alrighty, final update time. I did finish Practical Magic last night, and I didn't want to update in the moment because I didn't love this book. Not for any of the reasons that I was originally expecting, which is a good thing. This book definitely didn't have too much magic in it. It was much more about the character relationships and dynamics, but in the way that it went about it, it was just not the book for me. I have never really enjoyed books that span characters' entire lives and like generations of people. And again, this reminded me a lot of Firefly Lane, which I didn't love, and probably some other books that are not coming to mind right now, but that's the one that really sticks out because this is about like 2 women. One of them has children. The other one plays an interesting part in those children's lives. I don't know, not my favorite, just felt slow and not that interesting, and I didn't feel connected to the characters. So definitely bummed, but after looking at some reviews on Goodreads for this book, there definitely are people who absolutely love this book, but I saw a number of reviews of people saying that the movie is better, whether they saw the movie before reading the book or saw the movie after. It sounds like people connected with the movie characters more than the book characters, so maybe I need to give the movie a try. I don't know, I'll keep it in mind for maybe someday in the future, but the book, unfortunately, not a win for me. However, this video, I will say, was a win because I had some very successful reads this round. Again, The Family Game, really fun thriller, gave it 4 stars. As Long as the Lemon Trees Grow, super hard-hitting historical fiction, gave it 5 stars. And Practical Magic, not my favorite, 2 stars. Please let me know if you have read any of these books and what your thoughts were on them, or if I've convinced you to pick any of them up. Otherwise, I don't think I have anything else. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.